St. Patrick's Day revelers flouted instructions to stay at home during the outbreak of the new coronavirus, defiantly filling up bars in cities across the country and hopping between haunts.
Posts on social media revealed that many revelers were refusing to follow social distancing guidelines to limit the spread of COVID-19 and stay in on Saturday, with bars reportedly packed in cities including New York, Chicago, New Orleans, and Washington, D.C.
New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell tweeted a screenshot of a live video that showed police disbanding a crowd outside a bar called Tracy's on Saturday, just hours after the city announced its first COVID-19 death.
Our NOPD officers are on site disbanding a large gathering. This is irresponsible, potentially endangering the entire community. New Orleans just had our first fatality, Cantrell wrote on Twitter.
A day earlier, Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards banned all gatherings of more than 250 people until April 13. The New Orleans Police Department urged people not to gather in large groups to limit the spread of the new coronavirus.
I was deeply disappointed this afternoon by the individuals who chose to ignore the sober warnings of our public health officials and the proclamation issued by the governor, Cantrell added in another tweet.
Louisiana reported its first COVID-19 death, a 58-year-old with underlying health conditions, on Saturday. The Louisiana Department of Health also reported on Saturday that it had 10 new presumptive positive cases, bringing the state's total to 77.
Meanwhile, in Chicago, where the city's annual St. Patrick's Day parade and river dyeing was canceled, large groups of people flocked to bars dressed in green to celebrate the holiday.
The Chicago Sun-Times reported that clubs and bars in the near North Side neighborhood were full, but not too crowded, on Saturday.
At a news conference on Saturday, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker announced the number of COVID-19 cases in the state had risen to 64 and rebuked young people who ventured out.
We saw a lot of crowds out and about today, and I need to be frank, we can have a massive positive effect on bending this transmission curve, thereby saving lives, if people take this seriously, he wrote on Twitter.
If you are young and healthy, listen up. We need you to follow social distancing guidelines too. You may only have mild symptoms for a few days and think you're just fine. But you can have the unintended, tragic effect of spreading COVID-19 to others who may be more vulnerable.
Illinois announced this week that large-scale events with more than 1,000 people are canceled for 30 days. All major sporting events have been canceled and gatherings of more than 250 people are strongly discouraged.
People in other large cities, including New York, Nashville, Austin and Washington, D.C., also flouted warning to head out to bars on Saturday night, according to posts on social media.
Walked by packed bars in NYC. The worst is yet to come, Billy Chasen tweeted on Saturday.
Thomas Ridd added, I was just out on 14th Street in D.C. to get an item from a hardware store. Bars were packed. You'd think D.C. is a town full of bright news junkies who get it. Not so. You people are recklessly putting your own life at risk, and that of others you interact with. I wish I was exaggerating.
Lori Liebig wrote, I am absolutely baffled by the state of downtown Nashville right now. There are hundreds of people packed in the bars along Broadway and on the sidewalks. Multiple people in the museum told me stories of being around sick people but nothing would stop their vacation. WTF.
Author Matthew Kepnes tweeted, Wow. There are a lot of people out here in Austin. The bars near my house are packed. Honestly, if this is how unserious people are taking this, we're gonna end up like many European countries and in a forced quarantine. And I don't know how well that will go over in the U.S.